honest with you, your record as a judge has not been radical by any means. It's, to me, left of center. But your speeches are disturbing, particularly to conservatives, quite frankly, because they don't talk about get involved, go to the ballot box, make sure you understand that America can be whatever you'd like it to be. There's a place for all of us. It really did to suggest, those speeches to me suggested gender and racial affiliations in a way that a lot of us wonder, will you take that line of thinking to the Supreme Court in these cases of first precedent? You have been very reassuring here today and throughout this hearing that you're going to try to understand the difference between judging and whatever political feelings you have about groups or gender. Now, when you were a lawyer, what was the mission statement of the Puerto Rican Legal Defense Fund?
To promote the civil rights and equal opportunity of Hispanics in the United States.
During your time on the board, and you had about every job a board member could have, is it a fair statement to say that all of the cases embraced by this group on abortion advocated the woman's right to choose and argued against restrictions by state and federal government on abortion rights?
I can't answer that question because I didn't review the briefs. I did know that the fund had a health care docket that included challenges to certain limitations on a woman's right to terminate her pregnancy under certain circumstances.
Judge, I may be wrong, but every case I've seen by the Puerto Rican Legal Defense Fund advocated against restrictions on abortion, advocated federal taxpayer funding of abortion for low-income women. Across the board, when it came to the death penalty, it advocated against the death penalty. When it came to employment law, it advocated against testing and for quotas. I mean, that's just the record of this organization. And the point I'm trying to make is that whether or not you advocate those positions and how you will judge can be two different things. I haven't seen in your judging this advocate that I saw or this board member. But when it came to the death penalty, you filed a memorandum with the Puerto Rican Legal Defense Fund in 1981, and I would like to submit this to the record, where you signed this memorandum, and you basically said that the death penalty should not be allowed in America because it created a racial bias, and it was undue burden on the perpetrator and their family. What led you to that conclusion in 1981?
The question in 1991... 81, I misspoke about the year, was an advocacy by the fund taking a position on whether legislation by the state of New York outlawing or permitting the death penalty should be adopted by the state. I thank you for recognizing that my decisions have not shown me to be an advocate on behalf of any group. That's a different, dramatically different question than whether I follow the law. And in the one case I had as a district court judge, I followed the law completely.
The only reason I mention this is when Alito and Roberts were before this panel, they were asked about memos they wrote in the Reagan administration, clients they represented, a lot, to try to suggest that if you wrote a memo about this area of the law to your boss, Ronald Reagan, you must not be fit to judge. Well, they were able to explain the difference between being a lawyer in the Reagan administration and being a judge, and to the credit of many of my Democratic colleagues, they understood that. I'm just trying to make the point that when you were an advocate, when you were on this board, the board took positions that I think are left of center, and you have every right to do it. Have you ever known a low-income Latino woman who was devoutly pro-life?
Yes.
Have you ever known a low-income Latino family who supported the death penalty?
Yes.
So the point is, there are many points of view within groups based on income. You have, I think, consistently, as an advocate, took a point of view that was left of center. You have, as a judge, been generally in the mainstream. The Ritchie case, you missed one of the biggest issues in the country, or you took a pass. I don't know what it is. But I am going to say this, that as Senator Feinstein said, you have come a long way. You have worked very hard. You have earned the respect of Ken Starr, and I would like to put his statement in the record. And you have said some things that just bugged the hell out of me. Last question on the wise Latino woman comment. To those who may be bothered by that, what do you say?
I regret that I have offended some people. I believe that my life demonstrates that that was not my intent, to leave the impression that some have taken from my words.
You know what, Judge? I agree with you. Good luck.
Thank you.